I also request all our dignitaries to please remain on stage, and I request all of you to stand up as we pay tribute to our great nation by singing the national anthem.
The New Earth Summit has come from that experience, and in our own groups, and all the activism that's happening, I could see that each group was focusing on a particular area, whether it was environment, some guys on environment, some guys in farming, and some for my friends in veganism, healthy diet, saving animals, and then some people purely on the physical aspect. And I realized that working in silos is never the complete solution. Because if you want good health, good mineralization in the body leads to good immunity, and good immunity leads to a healthy life without sickness. But good mineralization in your body can only come from good mineralization in your plants and in the soil. So this is the interconnection that you will see in this summit, and why it has been curated in this way, because they are interdependent.
And now I'd like to request our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Elvis Gomes, to please come up on stage and address us.
Every aspect of life has an intricate connection with the kind of system that we follow, and whether we have the pollution. There is a picture here of pollution on this, air pollution, very visible pollution. Some of us are fighting against pollution. I see so many faces. Some of them are legal luminaries who fight in courts against pollution. Pollution ultimately contributes to many of the ailments that we suffer from. And from dust unto dust, the journey that we go through, that journey is a constant search, a search for happiness, a search for health, search for peace. Right now in this nation, there is an alert.
When we begin our journey, that's the time that we need to focus on right kind of nutrition. There's a rapid transition, which I'm sure all of you all will agree, from undernutrition to poor nutrition. 20 years back, I remember we were focusing more on preventing undernutrition. And in that bargain, we conveniently forgot that what we are doing is what we have got over the period of time is obesity and overweight and obesity cases, which has given rise to the other non-communicable diseases. So too much of soft drinks, too much of sugar, not right fat.
Amazing, isn't it? So is skin really the largest organ? No, I will say gut, your digestive tract is the largest organ of your body, and that is why it really also affects each and every function of your body. So what are the common digestive diseases? Before I dive deeper into making you understand how you can heal your gut, I want to familiarize you with what diseases we come across which we associate with digestive system.
I am light, I am light. I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. I am light.
Make a hook of this index finger, support here, dig inside. Dig a little deep till you're reaching your bone. Are you reaching a little bit of firmness of the bone? Yeah, in the middle here, right in the center, okay? Now, how many people are getting some pain? Yeah, instead of 2, 3 people, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about 20 people are getting pain. Now, why is this paining in this point, and why is it not paining in this other point?
So the missing link is that if I am exercising my abdominals and chest muscles today, then the next day I should be exercising my back and the upper back, the lower back and the upper back next day, so that there is a balance in the front half and the back half of the body. That balance is required. So the prime requirement in exercise has to be balance, attaining balance, or else we come with faulty postures.
Remember the 4 things? Or just got with my emotions? 4 things. What is the first thing? The way. Write it down. I know you'll forget. The way. Now what way we are talking about? The way we are talking about your individual path. That is called Kesar Vidya in yogic term. You know Kesar, Zafran? It's your fine path you walk. Firstly, your family members, your parents won't understand you. Your friends will say you're mad. Those community people will consider, oh, he's on drugs. Kesar Vidya.
Suppose you're allergic to orange. I'll ask you to hold the orange in your hand, and I'll do some kinesiology and find out which organ, which meridian, at what level you have got affected. Like, is it physical, emotional, or physiological level? And I'll give a pressure, and we reprogram the brain. That is, we're telling the brain that you're no more allergic to that substance. So when we give the pressure, we're actually giving the body the vitality to excrete or get away with the toxins it created.
And when you subject that to the human body, it is going to give a response. Anything in the cosmos is going to give you a response if you do something to it. And I say cancer is the rightful response by the human body because of what we are doing to it.
This is a microscopic view of synthetic molecules versus natural molecules. Vitamin A, B and C on the left are synthetic molecules. People like Wohler make them. They look and behave kind of like the real natural molecule, but they don't really. So whether you want to call them fake, counterfeit, impure, unbiodegradable, dead, soulless, demonic, unconscious, ashuddh, denatured, synthetic, there are many names to give these molecules.
You understand all the parameters, you scan everything, and when you recommend a joint treatment, the chances of healing and curing something permanently within 3 to 6 months is very, very high. So I press forward with this kind of philosophy in integrative medicine. So 2 aspects. What I'm saying is integrative diagnosis and healing. And the second aspect is these sciences can be done in our villages. Let us bring health to the people, and it's doable rather than running after health.
Now, I would say that naturopathy is a perfect blend of traditional theories as well as science. Now this theory explains what Sir spoke about in the cancer, when he spoke about the food. He said, our body, so whatever is in nature, so is our body. So basically we are made out of 5 elements, that is earth, air, fire, water and space.
I believe that every emotion we are passing through is responsible for creating some or the other reaction in the body. And that's why our punchline, right from 1997, we are using, that is, if you want to heal your body, you must first heal your mind.
Why I'm putting my example, I don't mind to put my example, because I want you to notice that our simple things, which we say that it's my way, it's my behavior, it's my pattern, it's my this and it's my right, has already got those acts of immoralities, those acts of ignorances, those acts of exploitations, and we don't realize it. And that is why our system poor does not evolve. They don't get those opportunities. They don't get those opportunities because we are already dying for opportunities. The evolved person is dying for opportunities. He needs more of income. How can he give more income to others?
Thank you, Daryl, for setting the tone of the day. And may I now invite our chief guest today, Mr. Claude Alvarez. And Mr. Claude Alvarez, may I request you to come up to the stage and put the context of healthy food and farming in context.
Unless you take the process of growing food back into your hands, you are doomed to eat this rubbish. Either it is farm food which is contaminated with pesticides, or it is processed foods which is actually as bad. Whether you get this stuff from the markets where so many things are done to the food. Nobody knows why you have to do something to the food, but it's done to the food. You take wheat, then you crush it, you refine it, then you fortify it again, and all that sort of thing, so that some corporation somewhere can keep it on the shelf for 6 months without having to bother about it. That is the only purpose. The food business is meant for the industry, not for you and for me. So today's session is very interesting because it brings us all down to earth.
It's horrible. That's the cyanide, all cyanide. We are taking bit by bit, we are taking all that, not chemical, it's poison. We are putting poisons in the body. And then we say cancer होती है, वो क्या rheumatic arthritis होते हैं, ये सिर दर्द होता है, फलाना होता है, क्यों होता है भाई? क्यों होता है?
It is just chopped up vegetables in water. You don't need salt, you don't need any starter culture, you do not need saline, nothing. Because if it is truly natural, then when the fruit falls down or the carrot is there in the ground and its time is over, it decomposes and goes back to the soil. It's an organic process.
Natural farming systems don't work like that. In natural farming systems, you design the system to give it some kind of ability or rather to develop its immunity in a way to resist different kinds of diseases which may happen. You don't think about these diseases every day. You just try and prevent the ones that are more common from happening, right? So you don't do pesticides. That's not a solution. That's a cure, a dubious cure, but it.
And they
are what I'm saying, the change makers. Coming from different villages, they have the technology and they have the experience of working with the farmers for 6 months last year, growing the crops, transferring their knowledge to the farmers and picking the farmers' knowledge and experience for themselves. And that's a very big gain to spread the news and the skills to make organic farming profitable.
But in conventional farming, it is uniform. Monocropping was practiced. If it is paddy, only paddy. If it is coconut, only coconut. If sugarcane, only sugarcane. The farmer were not having different type of crops. But in organic farming, we advocate diverse farming. Diverse farming, different type of vegetable, different type of cereals, different type of fruit crops, different type of flowers, or different type of animals, poultry, this everything.
You will be going to and having the freshest of food, then you will be reducing your own carbon footprint, because this will reduce food coming from outside. That you just imagine truckloads of vegetable coming from, say, Belgaum or Bangalore, and it is carrying 90% water, 10% is nutrients, and those nutrients are deteriorated by the time it reaches us.
And they don't suffer from any of these illnesses. Like I shared earlier today, they don't do any manufacturing of food. And they are doing absolutely fine. I think we will also get absolutely fine and healthy once we stop manufacturing of all types of food. This is not philosophy, it is reality. That I'm just opening a window to some bigger realities that are happening on the planet.
So no matter which source of animal protein you consume, it will raise your IGF-1. And the higher the levels of circulating IGF-1 in your body, the higher are the chances of you getting cancer. Now besides this, animal products also come bundled with cholesterol, saturated fat, trans fats, heme iron, heterocyclic amines, antibiotic residues, and the list goes on.
Up buried in the desert sands lie the carcasses of boats, ships, anchors, and the gigantic trident. Reappears the smart Homo sapien, now riding on a camel in the desert, which only yesterday was the vast expanse of blue seawater.
We have a very distinguished gentleman amongst us who's very nicely convened to be our chief guest for today. He is the commissioner of the Corporation of Panaji, as well as the project director for rural development. He is none other than Mr. Sanjit Rodrigues. And sir, can I kindly ask you to come up and give a few words to the audience? Thank you.
And we went to bring about change in this small city of Panjim. And we thought we could talk to people like you and me. And a lot of talk was done. This was 10 years, 15 years ago. And there were people like you and me who listened, who promised, and ultimately did nothing in terms of segregation, in terms of waste management.
So our fish curry rice, I don't know what Goa would be, without fish curry rice, because if we damage the kazans and we damage our rice fields and we remove all our coconut trees, the mass slaughter of coconut trees, this MRF factory closed down over 1,000 coconut trees on just one day to produce rubber tires. And there was another liquor plant which was removing another 1,000 coconut trees. This large-scale slaughter, which is going for putting up a liquor plant to produce alcohol in Goa, when you don't really require even a single extra drop of alcohol. And then use this 8,500 to water his whole area. Everything is automatic. Today, he's in the public areas, he's growing flowers. In the areas behind, he's growing vegetables. Just using this, everything is automatic. It has a solenoid valve, it has a timer, and it has a pressure system. So everything of his is taken care of. So today you can use this for greening the environment.
And all over the world, we come across housing that was built with mud and eco-friendly materials, because that was all they had at that time. And it's still standing. They have withstood for years. Like you have entire habitations in Syria, in Iran, Madagascar, which is a rain climate like ours.
Yeah, so the good alternative is lateritic soil. Again, you will say, there's a lot of stigma if you use mud. People say, are you poor? Okay, don't you have enough money? But the world over, globally, soil is recognized as the best. And just because something is packaged in paper or packaged in a biodegradable material, again, you don't have to accept it. Are you going to use that packaging? If you're not going to use that packaging, you don't need that packaging. It was also important to start daily changes, toothbrushes, toothpastes, all of that. Recipes were given out. Moving on to making your own stuff in terms of your own cleaners, your own shampoos.
So I am going to talk to you about a journey of 3 drops of water. Okay, they're called blue, second is aqua, and third is pearl. Okay, they originate at the same place and they fall as rainfall at 3 different locations. So let's see what.
That could be done across the roads where it cambers on either side. Depending on the low-lying areas, if this is put, the water will just flow into these pits or into your gardens or housing societies across the roads and will take care of the problem of losing that precious rainwater.
Thank you for listening to the story how we are trying to do child-centered sustainable village model. Story of protecting, preserving, restoring our village. Story of how we are trying to save our village for ourselves, our children, your children, and for the world. But here we are not just to tell stories, right? Here we are dream together.
Even on the energy medicine side, there's EFT, which is called emotional freedom technique. Similar to that is EET or TAT, which takes care of, phobias, addictions, and very apt for a place like Goa, where there are so many cases of alcoholism and smoking. So these things do not take more than 1 month, 2 months to practice and become proficient at. So very simple and natural, and many of them are ancient therapies. They're not new formulations. They can be used by therapists who work in, who can work out of, refurbished Portuguese villas. Now there are so many big houses in Goa that are not being used. We don't need to create, our idea is to create 100 or maybe 1,000 wellness centers in Goa.
When you actually go and you dive into it, you study it, you understand it in depth, you see that it's actually changing much more rapidly than we are prepared for. And if we develop our coast without thinking about what impact it's going to have on this ecosystem, then we're ultimately affecting our own future and our own survivability, because we depend so much on this ecosystem.
There are many things that we have seen, like what Feli Gomes is doing, or what Pooja is doing, what Make It Happen is doing, or Local Beat, or Soul Traveling, or Exclamations Goa, Walk with History. Individuals like Savani Shetty and Ramchand Sargaonkar. These people are slowly generating a revolution of sorts, wherein they are doing these heritage walks and different kind of a model. So this is not a regular tourist guide. We'll show you the monument and explain about it. But these people are taking you to different villages.
So these are the things we need to invest in. And these models are going to create massive business because they can be done without any cost. It is just about your relationship with another person. You introduce that you can do this, we'll come, we'll do the talking, you get your commission, you're done. If you install one of this at your house, you're doing business with yourself and generating money there as well, okay, like returning back. And so we ask you for your support in such things, and business will be created for people who are into welding, people who are into transportation, people who are into painting. These are all self-sustainable models that we can do.
It is a natural ecosystem. It is the agriculture of the future. You can have it from a rooftop, a balcony, to a farm. As example of an aquaponic farmer in Canada, he's got a 40-foot by 80-foot greenhouse. He produces 700 kilos of rainbow trout a year. He produces 50,000 lettuce plants for sale. The waste from the plants, he feeds pigs, and he has pork. The waste from the pigs and the solid waste he collects from the fish tanks, he makes into manure which he gives to farmers.
You knew what you were thinking about, the challenge that you were looking at. Now you know the solution to your problem. You know how to get to the solution. You also know what you need to do differently or change about yourself to get to that solution. All that you now need to do is implement it.
They just removed it in their wisdom. So the tide comes in uncontrolled. So when the last tsunami happened, and the sea is rising, as we all know, the levels, something will happen to all the groundwater lower to the Buckingham Canal, which is what will be felt in any coastal area. You'll start losing your groundwater very, very slowly, but surely every day. And this was a classic statement that went on in Chennai. I wondered where this water came from. It was flooding everywhere when we had no rain.
So this industry just leads into different kinds of actions that is looking to clean up your water, clean up your land, make healthier food around the place, make more recreational spaces. So it's a kind of rejuvenation of the entire land.
Last 10 years, I've come out with Safe Health Lifestyle Program. You know, if you see what is the cause of disease, when you disobey the natural laws. When you follow the natural laws, you will live without disease. So here is a calendar which talks about the Almighty have created. Every day there is one health nuggets are there. By following this health nuggets of 365 days,
System is at fault and system is a problem. And because the system, we also have a problem. If I am belonging to the system, that's a cosmos is perfect. Human system is a problem. Human system problem also comes to human being. Right? Now the first duty of the human being is not get affected by the cosmos human system.
I'll do it. I'll watch the call. Too much coffee. I don't take sugars, I take a lot of
Few mistakes to avoid. Don't plant too much on one thing. Don't go out on plants. Most gardeners just apply more to the plants. Attempt to grow, most gardeners don't bother about their soil because they are so eager and impatient to plant something. They never worry about how their soil is before they do this and end up having to put it. they will forget to plan their succession.
कुछ खोला है?
That is not good growing summer.